Desync is what happens when you mix old school shooters like Doom and Quake and mix it with Devil May Cry. And it's pretty good. Made by the Foregone Syndicate in 2017, Desync is another in a decently sized list of indie boomer shooters. But this game actually has a few unique things going on here. Mainly the Desync system, which is one of the few systems in place to customize your loadout. But before I get into the actual in-game stuff, I want to speak on their options menu, as it's the first thing that I look at when booting up a game for the first time. And it's also just good to know how much you can customize your settings. So that being said, it's not really the most expansive out there, but they give you a few important things like FOV, AA, VSync and such, but not much past that. The rebind situation is good though, I will say that. There's a lot that you can rebind, which is always important because people have preferences in setup. Now usually for me, I don't know about y'all, but once I'm done fiddling with my options, I actually start playing the game. So now we get to talk about the gameplay, and I gotta say, the gameplay is fun. And this is a gameplay focused game. There is literally zero story. It's straight action. Doom Eternal has more story than this game. But I won't rip a game for not forcing a story, because they could have. And I say it's good that they didn't. I don't think a story would have done this game any favors. The gameplay itself is what we have seen before. No sprint, gun up all the time, dashing around, picking off enemies, while picking up guns and power-ups. In this case, the only thing you pick up is health and ammo. There aren't any power-ups in the traditional sense, like an overshield. It's baked into the loadout customization, which goes like this. First, your weapons. There are 7 guns in the game, each very unique, and they have 2 attacks that you can use to dish out your combos. You can attach different effects like movement speed and damage to increase the stats while using it, but each buff comes with a debuff, so you want to figure out how to go about each weapon setup. After that is the Desync system, which is the biggest thing in my opinion about this game. I mean, it's in the name. It goes like this. There are 4 colors: red, yellow, purple, and blue. These enemies are synced. If you kill an enemy with an attack sequence that you chose for it, you desync them and you get a bullet time buff, where time around you moves super slow, and you can chain desyncs together to have extended bullet time. To me, this feature is pretty cool and unique. I haven't seen something like this in a boomer shooter. Next is usable equipment called cores and sidearms. These are charged up over time by getting kills on enemies, and once the bar is filled up, you can use it. Cores can be used at any time, while sidearms need to be picked up to use them. Cores are abilities that just range from like DPS increase, movement speed, heal, all that, while sidearm is another weapon that you carry around for a limited time. There are 4 sidearms, and I'll tell you about the Aegis. It's a shield that once fully leveled up will let you parry enemies and bosses, and let you charge through enemies, knocking them up like I showed you at the beginning. If you kill an enemy that's knocked into the air, it'll give you more points. This is called an attack sequence. Attack sequences are how you accrue points and desync enemies, which adds another side of the gameplay loop. You're scored based on your performance in each encounter. I never found it that difficult to get consistent A and S, but if you want the S plus, you really need to master each encounter to maximize everything out of it. Trust me, it's a lot.
I really grinded for that. This took me a while. You know what's crazy? This is the first level, and this is the first level in the whole game.
The gameplay itself is fairly replayable for this, as there's even leaderboards baked into the game. But that's not all. Once you complete a level for the first time, it unlocks an aberration of the level, which is where the real challenge lies. These levels give you a loadout from the start, and after each encounter, they slap on an affix that will make it either more challenging or more easy. These can range from enemies only being damaged from a distance, to dash length being dramatically increased, to having no dash, like in this clip. to get an S plus on this, you're really gonna need to be on top of your game. Cause sure, some of these, honestly, they're not too hard because they give you a really good loadout. It's pretty fun. But for the ones where they don't, forget about it, bro. It's hard as shit. Before I end the gameplay talk, I want to speak on the bosses, which there are only 3. These are probably, no, not probably. These are my favorite part of the game. They're fast-paced and fun, but also short. They don't drag on at all. Especially once you get really good at the boss, you can go for the no-hit run and find out other speed running strats to kill them as fast as possible. The bosses are good. Now, the game is not perfect, and I have 4 things to say on that. 4 things I want to rip this game on. 1. While the gameplay is really good, the actual game is only 3 hours long. And as of writing this, I have 8 hours. Let me see as of recording this right now. So as of recording, I had 9.2. Because I started going for the 100% completion. And I ended up not doing it, but I think to get 100% completion, it could take you like 15 hours maybe. Like if you're really grinding it, 15 hours. This game, it feels like a really good proof of concept, honestly. Because it's just, the base experience is too short. So definitely buy this game on sale. Because for 3 hours, I mean, if you're going to 100% it, $15 could be worth it, but I feel like for only like 3 hours, I mean, if you're really nice with it and you skip the aberrations, you're looking at like 2 hours, you know? Like, I think on sale is way better if you're not gonna really invest a lot of time into it. Which, there is a decent amount of gameplay to invest into. Like, you could go for high scores, you can go for achievements. Actually, that's kind of it. So, alright, 2. The UI for customizing weapons is straight up dookie. I had no idea how to actually customize my stats until I fiddled with it enough. They gave 0 explanation, so I'm going to explain it here. First, you make your attribute, then you select the gun, then you click on the attribute, and then click install. I don't know why this couldn't just be like a drag and drop. Like, you know, why all these extra little steps? Same goes for actually equipping the guns. If I delete one, it cycles all my guns back. So that means now I need to delete all of my guns and re-add them. A drag and drop would have been so much better. Okay, 3. The level design is mostly good. But there are a good amount of arenas with hazards that just do not feel good to play around because you will inevitably die to one. Listen. You know, Doom, Dusk, you know, these boomer shooters, it's like your eyes are on the target. The arena is kind of like a, you know, it's like a background thing. You're not paying 100% to it, but you're paying enough attention so that if you need to jet, you can. So with this in mind, Desync has moments where my eyes are on target and I just kill myself. And I understand why they have these hazards. It's because you can knock enemies into them to give you a combo. You know, that's cool, but you know, I'm not constantly knocking them into traps, so it just feels bad. If they were to make a sequel, I would say get rid of the hazards. It's just not really that good. Now 4, this is the most goofy one to me. They only restrict you to 4 weapons. And one of those you can't even swap off. Enough said on that. So the verdict. Desync, honestly, is a really cool indie arena shooter. All the guns feel good to use. However, they only restrict you to 4. And they have a couple other issues, like I said before. I give Desync an honest 8. I think if they made an expansion or a sequel and fixed up some of these issues, it would be a lot better. But considering how there's certain aspects that are kind of frustrating, and if you're not really going for completionist, the game is like 2 hours long. I don't know. It's definitely a get it on sale kind of a game. And you can like bang this out in an afternoon. Thanks for watching.